All right, fig lovers, this is Ross, the Fig Boss. If you are unfamiliar with my channel here on YouTube, welcome. I've been growing fig trees here in the Philadelphia area for about 10 years. I've been studying them very closely during that time. And one of the things that I have really made it a goal of mine to do is to figure out exactly how hardy a fig tree is. Here in the Philadelphia area, I'm in zone 7A. We are in a zone that's kind of right on the edge, if we get a really nasty winter, of our fig trees either surviving or dying. And what I mean by dying is that the wood will die back to the ground and then it'll have to resprout from the base. So it's pretty rare that our fig trees here actually die, unless they're rather young and you just planted it and that happens. But once they're established, they have a good root system, they're pretty hard to kill. In fact, they're almost like weeds. It's hard to get rid of them once you plant them. So what I've decided to do here, because it's pretty obvious that every fig variety, and there's thousands of fig varieties that exist, by the way, but every fig variety has a different set of genetics, just like you and I. You have different genes than I do. And all those genes determine all kinds of things about us. It's the same thing with the figs. And this variety here is called Ronde Bordeaux, which has a very different set of genes than this variety here called Moro de Caneva. You can obviously infer that, well, one variety should be hardier than another, able to withstand the cold better than another. So I've decided here over the years, to plant a lot of my fig trees in the ground. Originally, I did this actually as a hardiness experiment to see what varieties would live and which varieties wouldn't. And for many years when I first started, actually a lot of my trees weren't surviving the winter time, even though I knew of a grower actually only 20 minutes from me that had some of the best success in the northeastern part of the United States than pretty much anybody else. So I thought, all right, if he could do it, why can't I do it? What's the difference between my trees and his trees? Is it really just a microclimate difference of 20 minutes away? Over the years, I learned it's not really about the variety. What's more important, and you have to have this prerequisite first, is whether or not your tree is lignified properly. And every fig tree will naturally lignify its branches. There's some people who will say that potassium, extra potassium in the soil can help. But one of the best ways to help your tree lignify and prepare itself better for the cold is actually to protect it for a couple seasons after you plant it. Or if you prune it improperly, it's going to have this urge, it's going to be encouraged to grow a lot next year. And it's going to grow well into the fall. And by the time frost comes and knocks off the leaves off of your tree, well, it's not going to be able to lignify anymore, because the leaves, it needs the energy from the leaves to continue that process. So if you have branches that are not really great and not well lignified going into that first frost, well, that's kind of it. They're not going to lignify much further than what they already are. And they'll have to wait until the next year for the tree to have leaves again, for it to continue that lignification process. So it's really important to get the trees to stop growing. That's basically it, because every leaf that forms, it really takes about 3 to 4 months for that bud, that growth that just grew 3 to 4 months prior, for it to lignify in time. And I would even argue there's a couple of trees out here I've been looking at. Some of the growth looks like it's damaged and it's a whole growing season old, which is 6 months. So you may even need more time with certain varieties, more than just the average 3 to 4 months it could take for a variety to lignify its wood. So I think every variety is a little bit different in terms of that. But certainly you can help your tree just stop growing. And the way you do that is by limiting your pruning. You can also just make thinning cuts. So instead of using your pruning shears to bring the branches back by, let's say, 33%, by half, by 90%, and use your pruning shears to shorten the branch, you want to remove the entire branch at its base, at its lowest point. If you leave growth behind, you're going to encourage what are things called water shoots. Water shoots are all over the place. You may have heard this term in a lot of other fruiting plants. Here's actually an apricot I have right here, and you can see a lot of water shoots down there. Very vigorous shoots that even on this apricot, the growth is not really well lignified. And there is even some winter damage or desiccation here at the top. This apricot has some green wood here at the top. So fig trees are no different. You prune them a lot in the winter time. The following year, they're going to respond by putting out a lot of growth. Here's a plum as an example. It has a lot of these shoots, younger shoots that are really vigorous and tall and did not produce any fruit on them. And they didn't produce any flowers either. So that's the difference. You have basically, depending on the style of pruning that you do and when you prune, it changes the hormones within plants in a way to either encourage them to grow more the following year or to flower more the following year. If we do a lot of summer pruning, a lot of the trees we just looked at, especially plums and pluots and apricots and stone fruits, apples, pears, they're way more encouraged to flower the following season. The fruit bud production on that growth increases. In the fig tree's case, you do a lot of summer pruning, well, you're going to be removing all the fruit because the fruit forms as the tree grows. So we can't really do any summer pruning. What you have to do is winter pruning. So winter pruning only really encourages our trees to grow more the following year. So to combat this, you don't want to shorten the branches. It's that simple. You only want to remove them at their lowest point and leave nothing behind. So assuming we do that, we protect the tree for about 1 to 3 seasons, because the cold is no different than our pruning shears. If the cold's going to come in here and shorten the branches for us, well, we're going to have the same reaction the following year as if we prune them improperly. So we have to protect them for 1 to 3 seasons. I know 1 to 3 is quite a range, but generally after 1 year, a lot of your trees will lignify properly and be prepared for the cold. But some of you guys in like zone 6s, you're going to have to probably protect them for maybe 2 or even 3 seasons to really be sure that these trees are properly lignified. So that's the answer right there. It's not necessarily about the variety, it's about the level of lignification, but let's assume that the lignification is equal. And if it is equal, what varieties have the best shot at, let's say, surviving temperatures below 0? This year we got down to 4, 5, 6, and 7 degrees Fahrenheit on different nights. And a lot of the trees look like nothing happened. It's about, I would say about 70% of these trees, the ones that are not lignified properly, took quite a beating. This is one of them right here called Hivernenka. I'll zoom out a little bit. It goes by the name Lampira 1, but this tree here grew as a single stem whip. I trimmed all the rest of them, all the suckers, and then protected this for 1 season, and then plopped it up last spring, and then all these shoots grew from that main sucker, that main trunk, and those are called scaffolds. So now that I have the scaffold formation, I was hoping this would be lignified enough, but it's not. So a lot of this growth here that's formed is about maybe 3 to 4 feet in length. About 75 to 90% of that new growth is going to die back, unfortunately. So all that is a waste, and it's probably very unlikely, it is, I should say, unlikely that this tree will fruit the following season. So I'm gonna have to probably protect it again. This tree is gonna grow a lot this following season when it wakes up, and it probably won't fruit because of the hormones we talked about. And then in order to get this tree to finally fruit, I'm gonna have to protect it probably next year, or hope that we have a pretty mild winter. I've heard a lot of mixed results with Ronde Bordeaux. A lot of people have said it's not actually that hardy, but here it is, not taking any damage. We've gotten those low temperatures for many, many hours, and the tree looks perfectly fine. In fact, I would even venture to say that the lignification is not perfect. There's still some green in these branches because of the reverse pruning technique that I did to this. But it looks fine. It's definitely looked worse in the past in terms of lignification. But right now this tree looks like nothing happened. This is said to be one of the least hardy fig varieties in existence. It's called Smith, and this particular tree is called Texas BA1. If you saw the fruits side by side, you would say they're pretty much identical. And this tree, actually not lignified as well as I would like it to be. I think Smith and Texas BA1, they're varieties that don't lignify all that well. But this tree here has taken almost no damage. I think there's a couple of branches on here. This one here in particular is quite thin. I think this one took some damage, is showing some desiccation on it. Maybe just this branch here in general, but the rest of it really looks amazing. And what's interesting about this tree, I want to show this in particular, I really wanted to show you guys this. This was the first year it grew, and then I topped it. So I was able to protect that one growth here, that one shoot for one season. This is what I mean. Then once I topped it, it formed some scaffolds. So that's one. Then this is 2-year-old wood, or the second year of growth. Then we had new growth that formed. That's the 3rd year of growth. And now we've got another year of growth. That's the 4th year of growth. And now we've topped it again, or this was the growth from last year. So that's 5 seasons, basically, of growth on this tree. That, if you can see just how much it's grown down here and how far apart the nodes are, you can see quite a big difference in the hormones compared to the growth that has formed and grown afterwards. So this stuff here, look at the close node spacing here. Again, last year, really close node spacing. The year before, really close node spacing. The year before that, the node spacing is actually a bit wider. Then the year before that, the same thing. The node spacing is a little bit wider. And then if you go down to the bottom, the original growth that formed, it's even wider. So what I mean, why I want to show you this, is because Smith is said to be the least hardy variety in existence, or at least the one that we know of. So there's Smith right there. And you can see all the growth here that's maroon and brown and just totally died back. Almost all of the new growth from last year, about 90%, 95% of the new growth from last year is now dead. The likelihood of that tree fruiting is probably 3% this season. And it's gonna grow like crazy. It's kind of good for me. I'll get to sell a lot of cuttings, but it's gonna grow like crazy and it's not gonna fruit. And it's kind of a waste of my time if I was just here growing this as for fruit production. But what I wanted to show you is that node spacing. You can see the hormones in a tree based on the node spacing. We could see it with that apricot. We could see it with that plum tree that I showed you guys. You could see it on the fig trees. The closer the node spacing is, the better the balance is of the hormones that favor flowering and fruiting. If the hormones aren't in balance, your tree is just not going to fruit. It's that simple. How do we get these hormones back in balance? As I already mentioned, we have to protect the trees. We have to limit the winter pruning and do the right kind of pruning. If we don't do these things, the hormones will always be kind of out of balance, out of check. It'll always favor growing. The trees won't lignify properly. They won't be prepared for the cold, and they're gonna take damage even at temperatures of only 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Not only that, but if you can get that right, your fruits will ripen at a higher quality. They'll ripen earlier. You typically will get more fruits, especially if you have a shortened growing season. There's so many benefits to having the hormones in check and understanding these hormones in general. I know no one wants to hear about hormones. It's such a weird concept, I think. Even though we have hormones as people, the last thing people think about with plants is hormones. But I'm telling you, it's like the most important thing when it comes to growing fruit. When it comes to growing fruit trees, you have to understand the hormones. This is literally what separates an average fruit grower from the expert. But I appreciate you guys. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the like button. We'll see you for the next one, all right? Take care.